Namaste friends, this is MGS here from CET Sankalp course. In today's class, we can discuss about the chapter biological classification. As we all know that the variety of organisms which are present on this earth which maintains a diversity, that is what biodiversity. Biodiversity means variety of organisms, or you can say biological, the species which will be there. They will be completely, the variety of groups. You can say that large amount of the organisms are there. So when we consider this large, the amount of organisms, or you can say that large number of organisms, it's very difficult to study those organisms individually. So to understand clearly and to classify those organisms, right? So first scientific attempt was made by Aristotle. So here, for mainly to the classify the organisms scientifically, to classify organisms, the first attempt by Aristotle. He classified the organisms, right? So those plants and animals under different the groups, right? So we'll take that how he classified. That is in the we know that the organisms which will be there. So Anima and Anima, he classified animals into Anima and Anima, and plants into herbs, shrubs, and trees. So in this, mainly it includes different system of classification. When you come to this different system of classification, we have generally, that is the natural system of classification and phylogenetic system of classification, where we can say that based on the evolutionary characters we can classify those organisms. Here we can take those the 5 systems of classification, right? 5 systems of classification. So 5 system of classification mainly includes the 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom, and then the 5 kingdom classification. So in 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom, 4 kingdom, 5 kingdom, and along with that, generally we can say that the 5 system of classifications that mainly includes, we can also say that 5 classified the organisms into 5 kingdoms, right? That is Monera, Protista, fungi, earlier which is also called as mycota, and plantae and animalia. So these are the 5 the kingdom classification, or you can say that 5 systems classification. So in this case, 2 kingdom classification was explained by 2 kingdom classification, which was given by Carolus Linnaeus. So the same person who gave binomial nomenclature, Carolus Linnaeus. He classified the organisms into mainly plants and animalia, plants and animals. So here he didn't consider whether they are the prokaryotes or eukaryotes, right? Generally he classified almost all the organisms into 2 groups. So in 2 kingdom classification, right? So which includes the plantae and later there is 3 kingdom classification. So 3 kingdom classification was given by Ernst Haeckel. So this system includes, along with that, both the plants and animalia, plants and the animals also included that he classified the organisms, that is the Protista. So in case of what is it, generally 5 kingdom classification, one is Haeckel who introduced what is it, the Protista, and third one 4 kingdom classification. So here 4 kingdom classification was given by Copeland. He what is it, he classified the organisms. What is it, mainly he included the Monera. Right, he classified the organisms, that is almost all the organisms which members or comes under this Monera, that is bacteria. And the last kingdom classification, that is a 5 kingdom classification, it was given by 5 kingdom classification. It was given by, we all know that, R.H. Whittaker. So R.H. Whittaker, who gave 5 kingdom classification, here he classified those heterotrophs fungi. Let us take the characteristic feature of these organisms, and later we can have the questions. Right. The first thing is that we'll take Monera. Right. In this Monera, it mainly includes bacteria. Right. It is a kingdom Monera includes 2 major groups. What are those 2 major groups? One is the Archaebacteria, primitive bacteria. Archaebacteria, right? You can say that in simple word we can say these are the ancient bacteria. Ancient bacteria. So Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Eubacteria. So here you can say that Eubacteria further classified into the bacteria and cyanobacteria. Bacteria and cyanobacteria. Very important. So cyanobacteria, which includes the photosynthetic bacteria, where they produces or where they show photosynthesis. Right. Here ancient bacteria which are there, generally they are going to adapt to a very harshy condition, and these are the most primitive prokaryotes. Primitive prokaryotes. Most primitive prokaryotes. So it includes the methanogens, which can survive. I already mentioned that they have a capability to survive in harshy condition. So here you can say that these are the anaerobes, generally which produce methane. Right, anaerobes which produce methane. So example we can say Methanobacterium and Methanococcus. Methanobacterium and Methanococcus. And these bacteria which are also present seen in ruminant gut, which helps in cud chewing animals, herbivores. Methanobacterium and Methanococcus. Important thing, these are helps in the production of biogas. Biogas production. And second one, halophiles. Somewhere we know that the halophiles, haline, right? So halophiles which can survive high salinity, right? These are which generally in common term we can say salt loving bacteria, right? Where salinity will be more. So in this condition they are going to they live, right? In that particular environment they are going to live where a very high salt concentration will be there. Halophiles. And the third one, thermoacidophils. So in case of this thermoacidophils, which is going to resist high temperature, we can say that more than 100 degree Celsius, and also acidic condition. Right, these thermoacidophils which will going to survive where pH will be less than 2. pH will be less than 2 and more than 100 degree Celsius. And generally we can say that the hydrothermal vents and the springs, sulfur springs, right, hot sulfur springs they will say. So there they are present. And generally if you consider this structure in case of bacteria, typical the structure, Generally this, what is it, the bacteria which has bacterial cell wall, whenever we are going to consider this covered by, they characterized by the presence of, what is it, the peptidoglycan, what is it, the external structure. The cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans. This is very very important. Normally general question ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ cell wall, fungi, monera, protista, and then along with that the plants, what type of chemical compound will be present or chemical substance will be present seen in, what is it, the cell wall, they are going to ask. And outer to the cell wall there is the another covering called as, what is it, the glycocalyx. And in this, the important thing is that, so glycocalyx is the outermost covering, what is that, or sometime we can say that the capsule, right, capsulated bacteria. So in this, that generally the glycocalyx is the cell envelope which consists of, what is that, the chemical, based on the chemical nature, the glycocalyx we can classify it, which helps in adhesion, mainly that helps in adhesion based on the chemical. So it can also be classified into, one is a slimy layer, and also which we can say that the a capsule layer. So here the slimy layer which protects, what is it, from the water, right, slime layer, it can be slime layer, or you can say that the capsule layer, right. Next is that the cell wall. So cell wall is already I mentioned that it is made up of peptidoglycans, and inner to this there will be mesosomes, and inner foldings of, what is it, the plasma membrane, right, so which is called as this plasma membrane. Generally the inner foldings of the plasma membrane are called as mesosomes. So this is, and along with that we can see flagella, right, there will be a flagella, right, only one side monotrichous, amphitrichous, we can say many side, that is, this is a peritrichous example. Throughout the surface of the body flagella is present, and there will be a nucleus. So nucleus is not covered by nuclear membrane, hence we can say nucleoid, that nucleoid, right, where it is not, what is it, the covered by membrane. And there will be, what is it, the flagella, elongated structure, and fimbriae and pili will be there. So these are the structures which helps in adhesion and also reproduction, fimbriae and pili, right, fimbriae and, what is that, pili, right. So these are the structures which are present on the outer surface of the bacteria. And other internal structures which will be there, plasma membrane will be there, and mesosomes, nucleoid, along with that the cytoplasm, right. So here the one very important thing is that the mycoplasm. So mycoplasm, as we all know that, what is that, the generally which acts as extracellular chromosome based on the shape. Next, so based on the shape of the bacteria we can classify organisms. Based on the shape we can classify organisms into, what is it, the coccus, right, coccus means spherical, what is that, the bacillus, bar shape or rod shape, and you can say that the spirillum, spirally, what is it, the coil. So this spherical shape will be there, and these are, what is it, the, like how E. coli will be there, same like that. and spirillum, right, like this there will be, that is spirillum, spiral shape, and then vibrio, or you can say vibriae, which is the comma shape. So in this generally vibriae, example vibrio cholerae, Next, based on the nature of staining, we can also classify what is the nature of staining technique. We can say that the staining which was developed by Christian Graham, developed by Christian Graham. Developed by Christian Graham. So he used the stain, where you can say that some bacteria will going to retain the Gram stain. That stain which is used, Gram stain. Hence the stain name, Gram stain. So here, which retains the stain even after washing with a particular the chemicals. So they are called as, if stain is retained, that is Gram positive. If stain is not retained, that is Gram the negative. Gram negative. Gram negative, right? Which do not, right? Whenever we're going to say that the which do not retain stain, Next concept in this, we can take the kingdom, the Monera, which includes methanogens, halophiles, thermoacidophils, right? Methanogens, halophiles, and thermoacidophils. These which comes under Archaebacteria. And eubacteria, which are called as true bacteria, right, mainly includes Cyanobacteria, and then along with that, which are also called as blue-green algae. Cyanobacteria, which are also called as blue-green algae, and actinomycetes, right? Actinomycetes, not ascomycetes. Actinomycetes, these are the filamentous bacteria. And in case of cyanobacteria, which will be the chlorophyll A and chlorophyll, generally the chlorophyll A is the pigment abundant, and carotenoids are present. These are the photosynthetic pigments in the chlorophyll. Along with that, we can also add, that is phycobilins. So these cyanobacteria are unicellular or colonial, right? Unicellular or colonial, right? Which includes mainly Anabina, nostoc, right? These are the example for cyanobacteria, and they have a capacity to they fix nitrogen, right? When they are generally present, they are filamentous and covered by gelatinous sheath. So there will be a specialized cell which is called as heterocyst. I can say that the the cyst, which helps in the cell which helps in nitrogen fixation. So heterocyst, right, specialized cell which mainly helps and present in the filamentous form. So Anabina and nostoc are the examples for, and actinomycetes, which includes the uh, genus which mainly belongs to Streptomyces. Streptomyces. Genus which mainly belongs to Streptomyces. It is the largest genus, or you can say that the genus which is used to produce largest antibiotics. Right, so largest antibiotic producing genus. Largest antibiotic producing genus. So here we can expect this question. Right, and the next kingdom, that is a Protista. Before going to that, there we mentioned that is Mycoplasma, right, which we can say that the here in this case plasmid will say, these plasmids extracellular, what is it, extracellular outside the cell, and extra chromosomal component which helps in the replication. But here Mycoplasma is an organism, right? If you consider this, generally the last group, we can say that the Mycoplasma, smallest known living cell. Mycoplasma, which is smallest known living cell, which are generally called as PPLO, pleuropneumoniae-like organism. Pleuropneumoniae-like organisms. Pleuropneumoniae-like organism. These which affect both plants and animals, right? They can survive without oxygen. So they can survive without oxygen, and they lack cell wall. No cell wall. Lack cell wall. And let us take the second kingdom, it is Protista. So in this case, Protista mainly includes the unicellular eukaryotes, and there is monera or unicellular prokaryotes. Why they are called as unicellular prokaryotes? Because nucleus is not covered by nuclear membrane, that is naked nucleus, which is called as nucleoid, right? And all those membrane bound organelles are absent. Membrane bound organelles are absent in prokaryotes. So Protista, these are also unicellular, but these are eukaryotes. What is the meaning of eukaryotes? There will be nucleus which is surrounded by nuclear membrane, protected by nuclear membrane, and ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, there will be all membrane bound organelles. ಎಲ್ಲ membrane bound organelles present ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. So this is the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Along with that, there are the other structures. So Protista mainly includes the chrysophytes, 5 different classes. One which is called as chrysophytes, which includes desmids golden algae, right? Along with that, diatoms, desmids and the diatoms. So golden algae and diatoms. So we'll take that, what is exactly chrysophytes. And it also includes, one is chrysophytes and dinoflagellates, which are responsible for the formation of red tides in the sea. Red tides in the sea due to the chemical reaction, right? And then one more, mixotrophic organism, that whenever the sunlight will be present, they acts as autotrophs, means it performs photosynthesis, acts both autotrophs and heterotrophs. Whenever there is no sunlight, it acts as heterotrophs. So euglenoid, that is the one unique feature of that, which mainly includes euglena. And slime molds. Slime molds, which are some are parasitic and unfavorable. During unfavorable condition, they're going to form up the aggregation, right? Form an aggregation called, during unfavorable condition they form aggregation, or you can say that cell aggregation called plasmodium. To escape from that, this aggregation, that is not plasmodium vivax, that is plasmodium, which grow and spread, and during unfavorable condition this plasmodium differentiates and forms other the spores, right? Next, the last one, protozoans. This is very important, and these protozoans which are there, which are of generally different types based on their the structure and locomotory organs, right? Which includes the mainly 4 major groups, and these are, some are, we can say that the aquatic, both includes both marine and freshwater aquatic, and some are terrestrial, omnipresent ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ. Aquatic, terrestrial, and some acts as parasites and some are free living, right? Some are free living and some are also acts as parasites. It includes 4 major groups. What are those 4 major groups? Right, so very very important. That is based on the locomotory the organs. One is mainly includes amoeboid. 4 major groups, amoeboid, which is generally show locomotion with the help of, right, amoeboid protozoans, right, locomotion with the help of pseudopodia. I already mentioned that cycloplasmic streaming, which helps in the formation of pseudopodia, that which helps in turn in locomotion. So protozoans are generally classified into amoeboid and flagellated protozoans, where flagella which helps, right, flagellated protozoans. So in this case mainly, which includes either free living or the parasitic. So one very important example, Trypanosoma gambiense. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಟ್ರೈಪನೋಸೋಮಾ ಗ್ಯಾಂಬಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಲೀಪಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಕ್ನೆಸ್. ಟ್ರೈಪನೋಸೋಮಾ ಗ್ಯಾಂಬಿಯನ್ಸೆ, ವಿಚ್ ಕಾಸಸ್ disorder sleeping sickness. So flagellated protozoans. So amoeboid example, we can say amoeba, which is a free living, and one more, Entamoeba histolytica. It is a parasitic form. Entamoeba histolytica. So these are generally the amoeboid protozoans, and that Entamoeba is example for parasitic form. And ciliated protozoans. So ciliated protozoans, where flagella helps in locomotion, and cilia helps in locomotion. So best example, paramecium. These are all heterotrophs, either heterotrophs or they are parasitic or free living, but they are not photosynthetic. Protozoans are not photosynthetic. Hence, even though euglena with a flagella kept separately under euglenoid ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಟರು ಅಂದರೆ ಆಟೋಟ್ರೋಫ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ euglena, which is called as mixotrope. Yes, so ciliated. So after that, where cilia helps in locomotion, mainly includes paramecium and sporozoans. So sporozoans, these produces spores, and they are non-motile and exclusively parasitic, no free living. They are always parasitic, and they produces spore which are infectious, the spore-like stage in the life cycle, right? These are always infectious, which causes disease. that is called as example Plasmodium vivax. Plasmodium vivax. What it causes? It causes present malaria. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇದು ಪ್ರೋಟೋಸೋವನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರೋಟೋಸೋವನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕಾಸಸ್ ದಿ ಮಲೇರಿಯಾ. Trypanosoma gambiense sleeping sickness. So this is, you have to keep trypanosoma sleeping sickness. What is that? Plasmodium vivax malaria. So let us take some question related to these two kingdoms, and later we can take some other what are the kingdoms. The classification system proposed by Linnaeus was, so Carolus Linnaeus, we already discussed that, who gave what are the two kingdom classification. What are those two kingdom? Mainly includes kingdom Animalia and plants. Animalia and Plantae. Kingdom Animalia and Plantae. So answer for that is, what is that? The two kingdom classification by Carolus Linnaeus. Three kingdom by Ernst Haeckel. Four kingdom by Copeland. Five kingdom by R.H. Whittaker. Recollect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇದನ್ನು. Right, next, which of the following characters served as a criteria for five kingdom system of classification? So here they consider almost all the the characteristic feature, right, like the cell structure, that is whether they are prokaryotes and eukaryotes, thallus organization, right, they are completely developed or not, along with mode of nutrition. Mainly they classify the organisms on the mode of nutrition, but the criteria, if they're going to ask, if they ask major criteria, which is the one which is a major criteria ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆರಾಮ್ಸೆ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ what is it ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಮೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ವಿಚ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದಟ್ ದಿ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪೈಲೋಜೆನಿಕ್ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್, right. So and along with that the other structure, like we can say that the nuclear membrane, how the body organization will be, right, whether the nuclear membrane is present or not, and whether the autotrophs or heterotrophs, that is what we can say mode of nutrition. And nuclear membrane, body organization hegide. So ishtu character mele R.H. Whittaker, what is it, all of these which will be considered as a criteria for five kingdom system of classification. So R.H. Whittaker's five kingdom system of classification, eukaryotes distributed among. So yeah, we know that generally the other than Monera, we can say that except Monera, right. So it is simple ಆಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. more problems are my plants and animals ಅಂತ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್, ಏನದು ಮೋರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸು? ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೇಲಿ ಪೆಟ್ ಡಾಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು 4-5 ದಿನ ಮನೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೋರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಅವು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಮೋರ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಮೊನೇರಾ, ಪ್ರೋಟಿಸ್ಟಾ, ನಿಮೋನಿಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಮೈಕೋಟಾ. ಈ ಮೈಕೋಟಾ ಈಗ ಜನರಲಿ ನೌ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಫಂಜಿ. ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಹೆಟೆರೋಟ್ರೋಫ್ಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್, ಎಸ್ ವಿ ಆಲ್ ನೋ ದಟ್, ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್. ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮೊನೇರಾ, ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಯೂಕರಿಯೋಟ್ಸ್. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ, all these are eukaryotes except Monera, right. So all these are eukaryotes. Monera, which is unicellular prokaryotes, which includes what is it, the Archaebacteria and true bacteria, along with that Cyanobacteria. So in case of this, just count 1 2 3 4 5, right. So only out of 5 except 1 ಅಂದರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಳಿತು? 4 kingdoms are which distributed among the 4 kingdoms classification. Distributed among the 4 kingdom classification. Study the following table carefully and select the correct option 1 2 3. So here, as we know that, so Monera bacteria will be with what is it, the cell wall, cell type. So what is this cell type? Monera always already mentioned ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು, ಇದು prokaryotes. Monera prokaryotes. ಇನ್ನು ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲದು ನೋಡಿ eukaryotic, right. And whenever we are going to say this, these are all eukaryote, right. Even this is also eukaryote, right. Cell wall ಬಂದಾಗ Monera ಏನಿದೆ, that is, it has a cell wall. Cell wall is present. Cell wall is present. So in Protista, in some it is present in some, but in some it is absent. Fungi, it is always present, right, which is made up of chitin. We can discuss about this. And plant as a cell wall is present. In animals it is absent, right. And nuclear membrane, as these are prokaryotes, no nuclear membrane. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, prokaryotes ಅಂದಾಗ nuclear membrane ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲದರಲ್ಲೂ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಸೊ here also we can say nuclear membrane is present. But in animals, no cell wall. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ cell wall ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ what is that? Nuclear membrane. Cell wall ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು nuclear membrane ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. If there is no cell wall, there will be a plasma membrane, right. In plants, both plasma membrane and cell wall are present. Body organization ಯಾವ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿಸೆಲ್ಯುಲಾರ್, ಇದು ಕೂಡ ಯೂನಿಸೆಲ್ಯುಲಾರ್. And these are generally the multicellular, right. Here we can say that unicellular, these are also unicellular, and these are multicellular, right. Tissue, organ, and here you can say that the cells are grouped to form tissues are grouped to form organ. And whereas here in animals we can say organ system, that is almost all the organ systems we have discussed, except that the neural control coordination, chemical coordination, will take that in the next part, means in the other classes. So what is the answer? A, 1 is prokaryotic, 2 is present. Now prokaryotic and 2 is present, and 3 is also present. Here we can see, that is third option is the correct answer. Eukaryotic, sorry, second option is the correct. Prokaryotic, present, multicellular. So this chart is very important. Please go through this, right. Bacteria are grouped under 4 categories according to their shape, as we know that. What is that? This is what generally rod shape, and this one is spiral shape, and this one is comma shape, this one is spherical shape. So if you consider this, the rod shape, which will be called it as bacilli, right, bacilli, and these are spiral, spirilla, and these are vibrio, and these are generally coccyx. Very, very important. Cocci means plural. Bacilli, bacillus singular, bacilli. So answer for this is bacilli, what is it? Spirilla, vibrio, cocci, right, based on shape. So this, which of the following statement incorrect regarding the structure of a typical bacterial cell? So as we already discussed that how exactly the bacterial cell will be there. Cells possess naked circular DNA, right, that is what we can say, naked circular DNA, along with that which is folded to form nuclei, right. So yes, naked means no nuclear membrane, idiralla, ee membrane won't be there. So that is what you should keep in mind, naked nuclear DNA, which is also called as genopore. ಎಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು, genopore ಅಥವಾ nucleide. That is correct. Cells are surrounded by peptidoglycan cell wall and mucilaginous sheath, right. In bacteria we can say that is also correct. That is what Glycocalyx, capsulated or slimy. What is it? Glycocalyx, right. Either it will be, what is it, slimy or capsule. Capsule for protection, slimy, which protects, this also protects and helps in attachment, right. So that is also correct. Cells possess well-developed membrane-bound organelles. No, except ribosome, all other organelles are absent, and no membrane-bound organelle. This is wrong, right. And ribosomes of these cells are 70s ribosomes in nature. So answer for that is statement, what is it, 1, 2 and 4 statements are correct, and third statement is wrong, right. Next, Cyanobacteria is classified under which of the following kingdom? I already mentioned that there is a chlorophyll A, and carotenoids and phycobilins, right? Chlorophyll A, and then carotenoids, and what is it? The phycobilins or the pigments which involved in photosynthesis. Mainly includes anabina and nostoc, specialized cells, heterocyst. So this which comes under, what is it? The monera, which are photosynthetic. That too, in that ಯಾವುದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಮೊನೇರಾ, ಟೂ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್, ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಕಿಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ photosynthetically we can see cyanobacteria, right? Some are at chemophotosynthetic or chemosynthetic autotrophs are there. So answer for that is monera. Next, photosynthetic pigments of cyanobacteria or blue-green algae includes. So just now we discussed that is mainly includes a chlorophyll and what is it, the carotenoids, and along with the phycobilins, which is xanthophyll. So all of this can be comes under this given figure. That is what we discussed, right? Mucilaginous covering is called as heterocyst, and the cell the cell which is shown here, that is A is heterocyst, correct? Heterocyst, which helps in nitrogen fixation, right? And mucilaginous covering, which covers complete the surrounding filamentous structure. So this is mucilaginous. So answer for that is A, heterocyst, mucilaginous sheet. Next, select the correct statement regarding heterocyst, right? So heterocysts play a major role in nitrogen fixation, and they are present in the filamentous, what is it, the bacteria, that too mainly, that is cyanobacteria, right? So these are present in some filamentous cyanobacteria such as nostoc and anabina, correct? The cells are specialized to form a nitrogen fixation, correct? And these cells contain enzyme nitrogenase, hence they can fix nitrogen. All of these are correct. Right. So in 5 kingdom classification, the kingdom that includes blue-green algae, nitrogen fixing bacteria, methanogenic archaebacteria. So kingdom methanogenic archaebacteria, which comes under, what is it, the methanogenic archaebacteria, which comes under archaebacteria, right? So that is monera. Select the pair consists of plant or animal bacterial disease, right? Plant or animal bacterial disease. So which affects, what is it, the mainly the animals. Cholera and typhoid. Cholera by Vibrio cholerae, typhoid Salmonella typhi. Cholera by Vibrio cholerae, right? And then typhoid Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi, right? So citrus canker and crown gall, that is also, what is it, the bacterial disease. Malaria and dengue, generally, which is also, what is it, the considered that. So in this case, both A and B, malaria, which is caused by protozoan, we know that. So we can eliminate this here, right? Wrong. So both A and B are, so answer for this is fourth one. And the most common method of reproduction by dash is the most common, that is always can say that the, which is going to show binary fission. So parent body divides into, what is it, the 2 equal alls, right? Divides, fission means you can say parental body divides into 2, that is what, equal halves, 2 it forms, that is binary fission. 2 equal alls, that is binary fission. So always the bacteria which are going to show binary fission. And mycoplasma is classified under, so mycoplasmas are classified under which of the following kingdoms? So mycoplasma, already we have mentioned that smallest non-living organism, which generally or commonly called as PPLO. They comes under no cell wall, they won't use oxygen, but they affect both plants and animals. They are parasitic form. Which of the following kingdom has no well-defined boundaries? So as we all know that generally in case of what is the bacteria, there will be a well-defined, what is it? No well-defined boundaries. So bacteria which has a well-defined boundaries, right? And if you come to this, the Protista, which includes mainly those chrysophytes, and then what is it, the mainly that is Dinoflagellates, right? So which are not well-defined boundaries. Members of kingdom Protista are primarily, so these which mainly includes what is it, these are almost all are aquatic, right? So they are aquatic, right? Which one of the following group of organisms are included under chrysophytes? So diatoms, desmids is correct. That is which comes under chrysophytes. Diatoms, dinoflagellates, no, this is a different, what is a group. Euglenoid is also different groups, slime also. So diatoms and desmids, which comes under chrysophytes. The cell wall is composed of two thin overlapping cells which fit together like a soap box. That is, this will be there. Generally, the organisms which comes under what is it, the Protista, that too which includes diatoms. So there will be which fixed like how this soap box is to fit. So this is made up of what is it, the silica. Cell wall is siliceous and very tough, and degradation takes very long time, and this forms diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth. So this is a fine, this is the powder which helps in filtration and also polishing. Use ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನು, right? So filtration, oil or syrup, filtration and polishing. So diatoms. Diatomaceous earth is used for, except it will be used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups, making sound, and what is it, the fireproof rooms, that is also correct, and biogas production. No, it won't, what is it, the used in biogas production. So all other what is it, which will be used, except that they will be used, microbes play a major role in biogas production. Microbes, that is mainly methanogens. So the last question, dinoflagellates are mostly, right? So dinoflagellates which have two flagella, one is a transverse, other one is horizontal flagella, and these what is it, the mainly includes Gonyalax, which produces red tides in the sea. So these sea and the general that is they are marine, and it also it is a photosynthetic, not a saprophyte, they are photosynthetic. So that is marine and photosynthetic organisms. Marine and photosynthetic. Dinoflagellate. Red tide in a warm coastal water develops due to chemical reaction, all of a sudden rapid multiplication. Just assume that these are what is the some. All of a sudden there will be millions of what is that these which will going to produce, right? It within a short duration. So like this it covers and it appears red in color. That is what we can say, red tides. So that is responsible for dinoflagellates. Example, Gonyalax. So with this we'll take other questions in the next part. Thank you. Thank you all. So